Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so now that we're getting back in the swing of things with basketball, I'm going to start doing more basketball content. We're a week away from the not summer league. We're a week away from preseason. And, I've been drafting NBA basketball teams, fantasy teams rather, and just kind of have a couple of opinions about certain things. So I think in this video, I will try to talk about the Lakers, my squad. Of course, we got Laker chat series and stuff like that. This will probably be one of those, but I just got through talking about the Sixers, so if this happens to bleed into something else, then we'll shift with the thought. So the Lakers. I am very excited about my team. Now, as you guys know, I am not excited about the rigors of an 82 game schedule when you cover the team. I haven't had fun doing that last year. I really didn't, but just the team itself, I'm more excited about this team this year than I was going into last season for certain. I mean, this is year 2 of Luka, and I just like the idea of what we're shifting into, which is a team that is centered around a top 3 player in the NBA. Luka Doncic is in shape, which makes him even more exciting of a player to be focused on. I think Fat Luka was exciting as hell. Don't get it twisted. I was very excited to have out-of-shape Luka on my team. But in-shape Luka gives you the understanding, like, you shifting into a situation where you've picked up your next statue. He's going to be somebody that's outside a Staples Center with a statue for real if everything goes the way that we expect it should. He's already proven what type of player he is. You just got to play enough basketball to showcase himself. And so him shaving pounds off puts you in a very, very advantageous position if you're a Laker fan to see something like that occur over the next several years. But with the Lakers, I'll tell Luka, just like I tell anybody else who puts on purple and gold, our goal here is to not just win a championship, it's to win multiple championships. Now, is that possible based on how things are set up with the CBA and all of that? One would think it isn't, but our goal is simple. We got to get rings. We got to put banners up. We got to have Larry O'Brien in our clutches. And if we do it more than once, then we're keeping up with what it is that we expect. I don't expect us to get a championship this year. I will not be disappointed if we do not. That's not the delusion that we work with on this channel. But overall, you sign a 4-year deal with the Lakers. You expect to sign a multi-year deal after that, which is going to break records. Somewhere in there, it's incumbent upon all Lakers on the team and GM and coach to bring Larry O'Brien home to us. And that is exactly what we're saying. We ain't got to do it this year, and you ain't got to do it next year. But throughout the course of this 7-year span, that trophy needs to be here. And anything less than that is a failure. So if we're not putting ourselves in a position to have that type of goal over the next 7 years, then we probably shouldn't even go down this road. That's literally how I feel. Because there's nothing more disappointing than a top 3 player in the NBA putting on a Laker uniform and not win the championship. It doesn't happen. It just does not take place. So Luka, it's going to be incumbent upon you to do what it is that come naturally to you, dominate the NBA just like you have been doing, and we got to get to the finals. Most of that, in my humble opinion, is on Rob Pelinka to build something sustainable that can meet that level over the next several years. So once he delivers that, once we know we have that type of team, then it's incumbent upon Luka the Don to bring it home. And that's it. That's all there is. And I like I said, there's very few things would be more disappointing than Luka the Don retiring without an NBA championship. He's too great of a player to not. It's that simple. There are a lot of great players who didn't win a championship. I do not expect he will be one of those. You see what I'm saying? That's just how I feel about that. He wouldn't be the first, but we don't want that to be the case with him. And I think that if he's given the right pieces, there should be no reason he can't bring home the trophy. No reason at all. But we got to bring him the right pieces, so the pressure is on Rob for now. Then it will shift to Luka once we have what we need. If we don't get what we need, then we won't expect to win. And so that's really what it comes down to. So that's what I'm establishing this year. I don't have championship expectations. We can get to the second round and I'll be satisfied with this season. I really will. Especially since we know damn well there are teams out there that are just flat out better than us right now. So I know LeBron James has higher expectations, but he's been a Laker, for 8 years now? He kind of know how this works. You know what I'm saying? He know how this works. We don't have enough. We just don't. Now, if Luka and LeBron lead this team to the promised land, then they've done great things. But we don't have enough. It's that simple. So, it would be incumbent upon them to drag stuff that ain't enough to the promised land. And that would never be realistic. But that's just what it is, man. So, yeah. Going into this season, we do have intriguing pieces that I'm super excited about. A guy by the name of Marcus Smart, although I don't really know what he's going to give us. He's only 31 years old, so I can't imagine he's just completely washed up and can't get right. He has had some injury issues here and there, but we don't need him to be the best version of himself. We just need him to give us some qualities out there that we didn't have over the last several years. Some point of attack defense, some playmaking and stuff like that, for which I know he can do. And if he can be smart out there on the offensive end, no pun intended, and not kind of be a wild child out there launching threes and being cold, I think he can really, really contribute to our overall unit in some areas where we weren't able to kind of help ourselves last year after moving on from Max Christie. And that's kind of what I want him to be. Just be Max Christie for us. Literally. I don't need him to be Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart, but give me some of that Max Christie energy. And if you can do that, provide that type of production specifically on the defensive end, you've met my expectations. You know what I mean? I believe that it's reasonable to think he's going to miss games because of injury. It's reasonable to think he's going to miss shots because he doesn't shoot very well consistently. But I do need him to be a dog on the defensive end and to be a dog for our unit. Be a dog for our unit. And I'm very pleased that we've brought him in because I think that he can fill that role rather naturally. Also, another player that I'm extremely excited about for us is DeAndre Ayton. Again, I don't need DeAndre Ayton to come in and be first overall pick, future Hall of Famer like a lot of people thought he was going to be when he was drafted. But if he can give us production that he's been giving everybody from the offensive end specifically, mid-range shots, dunks, rebounds, some abilities on the defensive end, blocking shots, stuff like that would be very helpful. If he could just give us a nice 16 and 9 every night, I think that'll be more than enough to accompany LeBron, Luka, and Austin. And I think he's more than capable of doing that. So my expectations are not super high. I do expect him to miss probably 30 games this year for injury like he always does. But if he's able to give us his career level stuff, I think that complements the full nature of what our stars are going to be able to do. And that's really what it is. We don't need him to be a star, hopefully, because if guys get injured, we definitely will. But with the production that he provides, and Luka being himself, LeBron being himself, Austin being himself, that should be more than enough production to get us where we need to be. So that's the good thing. We don't need guys to overachieve. We just need them to be themselves. And if they do what they've been doing, we're going to push people out of the way a lot of nights in the regular season. So that's what's intriguing to me. I like a guy like Jake LaRavia. I'm very excited about what he can bring to the table. I don't really know. I don't have an educated guess on what expectations should be lofty. Is that a word? Should be handed to him, I guess you could say. Not lofty expectations, but just the same. He's a young player, 23 years old, who's shown me a lot of good things, particularly when he played with the Memphis Grizzlies. He had one of his best games against us, and I remember how efficient he looked out there on both sides of the floor. And I'm super intrigued by him being somebody that we can develop into a very, very key role player on our roster. And hopefully he's able to continue his trajectory in a Laker uniform because he's been doing good things since coming into the league several years back. So I'm very excited about him. And some of the guys that we're bringing back. Obviously, we haven't mentioned Austin Reeves very much in this video, but I'm super excited about Austin. I don't know that he fits on this team like I'd like him to, but the way that he's been progressing over the last several years, he's just been going up and up and up and up and up. And I would not at all be surprised to see him overachieve and make an all-star team this year. Wouldn't shock me at all. especially if we have any injuries to Luka or LeBron. It's going to be incumbent upon him to step into that role. And as he's been ascending, he's been pretty much that kind of player. He's been close to all-star level. So Austin Reaves, I think, would benefit greatly from his own situation, surrounded by defensive players who can help mask his deficiencies on that end. And I don't necessarily think we have that situation for him. He's going to have to kind of get in where he fits in, and I just don't think that's the best way to get the most out of him. Or maybe bring him off of the bench, as to which maybe that's something that he may not necessarily need for himself as well. So he's up for a big contract at the end of this year, man. If I'm not mistaken, either this year or next year is his expiring year. I don't really know. Let me make sure what I'm talking about is the case. Fanspo is right in front of me. I got my phone, so let me get right here. But Austin Reaves, just the same, is somebody who's going to be looking to make money very soon. He gave the Lakers a nice deal on a contract a couple years back. Yeah, he has 2 years left on this deal, so he's definitely on contract for this year, and he'll be expiring the following year. Austin, this is a big year for you, man. I expect that you are going to have to really find your way on this roster. I know that's not going to be the easiest thing with Luka being down there and LeBron, of course, needing the ball, but you thrived last year at times next to them, and I hope that with a healthy, a good training camp between the three of you, you guys can figure out how to be a bit more seamless out there together. So that's going to be the key for me. I don't think the fit is natural with those three, and that also kind of brings down the ceiling overall for me. But overall, I think that what you have is just three super high-level ball handlers who can make other people better, who can take on clutch situations if necessary, who can fill in and step up in the absence of others. And I think that may be necessary. LeBron, 41 years of age, midway through this season. Luka having had some injury issues in history, not being in shape, stuff like that. There's going to be times where Austin's going to be out there by himself. You can predict that. And those are going to be the times for him to step up. And he's shown that that is something that he does. In fact, I nicknamed him Step Up last year because he did a fantastic job of stepping up anytime we needed him to. So I just think the world of Austin. I wish this situation fit a bit better so it wouldn't be so many rumors and so much logic around maybe moving him for stuff that does make more sense for the roster. But just the same, I'm very, very happy to continue having Austin as a part of our Los Angeles Lakers ball club. So he's one of my favorite players in the league regardless, and I'm happy he's on my squad. Rui Hachimura, man, he's expiring $18 million contract, man. It's a big year for Rui, and I don't think he fits on this team necessarily, although some things have been shifted around, so we'll see. Because, what his piece brought to the team last year didn't necessarily fit all of our needs. But if you bring in a couple of things, you remove a couple other things, now you got entirely different needs. So we will see. I don't think we have answers for all of that just yet. There'll probably be a nice preseason and maybe a couple games into the regular season before we actually know what we are in that regard. So you got to kind of unlearn all of the data that you had last year for the roster because there were different things going on. And so I think Rui's role could potentially make more sense this year. It could potentially make less sense this year. I haven't really done the thinking on that. But point is, we got him. He's on an expiring contract. He needs his touches. I believe he should have about 9 shots a game if you want to get the most out of this piece. And hopefully we'll do a much better job sooner getting him those looks. So I'm excited about him going forward as a player. I think he's a hell of an efficient offensive weapon. One of the most efficient role players in the game. But I just don't know that he can be featured on this roster based on what we saw last year, which has provided us some change to this season. So we'll see. We'll see. But I do think we have some other needs. There's a lot of rumors around Andrew Wiggins. If we were to acquire Andrew Wiggins, I would expect that Rui be a part of that trade. So I wouldn't rule out some type of trade coming up. I wouldn't rule it out. But if we don't have that take place, I do believe that we have a hell of a piece in place for Rui Hachimura. Hopefully he continues to grow from last year to this year, continuing to work on his game. And I think that, we'll hear trade rumors throughout the course of the season all the way through the deadline. So that's what I'll tell y'all. Dalton Connect, same thing. Honestly, same thing. I think he's going to be one of the most important pieces for the Lakers to dangle and trade, only because he was a first-round pick last season. He's a hell of a three-point shooter, we know. Athlete as well, can rebound some. Defense not very good, but ultimately he's still a piece that I think teams can feel great about bringing him in, and we can feel great about adding him in, and not a first-round pick, since we only have like 2 or 3 of those to move. I don't think the Lakers want to do that, so they would probably try to throw him into a trade like Wiggins instead of having to add that pick. I don't do that trade personally. You guys know I'm not a big Wiggins guy. I do think Wiggins fits on this team, but I do not believe in him as a player to give up that much. But, you know, I could see the Lakers trying to do something to give us a wing that has a bit more athleticism, more wiry type of piece. Somebody that could potentially complement Luka by catching lobs at the small forward position. Somebody like Derrick Jones Jr., although I know the Clippers aren't going to move on from him. You would love to see Derrick Jones Jr. reunited with Luka somewhere down the road. That's the type of piece that I would love to acquire. That makes a lot of sense for what it is that our team appears to be on paper. Like I said, we don't really know what we are yet. So that's a real thing. Jared Vanderbilt, healthy offseason, healthy training camp. I don't think he's had a healthy training camp in, 2 years? Vanderbilt is a very important piece. I don't know what he's been able to work on since coming back from injury. But we do need him to be his best, and he's still a young enough piece to expect that good days could be ahead. So could injuries as well. It's on a 3-year deal, $11 million. I think he can play that up. I don't think he's going to stay at this value for long. And so if I would tell teams, you'd be wise to buy low on Jared Vanderbilt, because once he starts showing what he can do and people start being reminded what type of player he is, especially on the defensive end, that price is going to go up. So I don't think anybody's thinking about picking up Jared Vanderbilt, but as somebody who remembers who the Vando actually is, this is the time to trade for him, Field. This is the time. Because once he gets back out there and starts showing us what he can do, suddenly you're going to look foolish for not trading for him now. So that's really my take on it. I think the Lakers are going to be able to play him up to a very nice value due to our defensive deficiencies here and there. And as LeBron continues to get older, I just think it's going to be more likely you have to spend some time without him, and that's going to leave room for guys like Rui and Jarrett to get more opportunities to play. And you're going to feel a lot better about having them on the floor in theory, because you have a legitimate center like DeAndre Ayton playing the center position. So they should, in theory, be able to slot back into their position instead of having to play some small ball 5 and stuff like that. So I think your team's going to make a little more sense. It could potentially make a little more sense with the presence of DeAndre Ayton, so long as he stays healthy, playing the center position more than not. Yeah, man, and Jake LaRavia could potentially play more small forward. If things look right with him down there, you probably feel a lot better about him being on the floor with Rui and stuff like that, so that Rui don't have to play the 3 and all this stuff. You can kind of have those guys play their real positions a bit more. So hopefully that's what it looks like. We'll see. Bronny James. I'm excited about Bronny James. I don't know about Laker fans. I am very excited about the potential of a athletic, defensive-minded player who can be aggressive. He did some great things in the G League. I thought he did some really good things in moments here and there. Obviously a cult fan favorite all around the league. But I think he has a lot in him to give to a team. So for me, I look at him as part of the core role players that we can continue to develop and feel very good about. Somebody we can hopefully get some good things out of offensively. I expect for him to continue to play well defensively. He's an athlete who can fly. I'm excited about Bronny James. Call me crazy for those who hate the hype machine, but I legitimately think Bronny James is going to be a player in this league, and I'm happy to have him. I really am. Whether his name was Bronny James or Bronny Smith, I like the piece. And I think he's going to be a high-character player on the roster, a likable guy, and I think overall he's going to earn his keep. I really think that Bronny James is going to be a nice player for us for a long time. And so I would say I want him to continue to develop, because I would like to see him take over the Gabe Vincent minutes. We'll see what Gabe does this year. You know, I don't have high expectations for Gabe. He had a very bad season last year, and before that he was hurt. So for me, with him expiring this year, I do think that he's going to want to have a resurgent Hopefully he's had a good offseason and is ready to contribute. But I think I've seen enough personally from Gabe to want to move on from him sooner than later. So that's just my point of view. Maxi Kleber. If Maxi Kleber can come back and give us basically the Maxi Kleber he was 3 or 4 years ago, that would be great. I don't have those high, lofty expectations, but what I will say is he looked like he was as impressive as anybody in the offseason, taking care of his body, getting back in shape. I do expect Maxi Kleber to can come in the best shape he's been in probably 6-7 years. What does that mean for him? Who knows? It's a long season. He's an older guy, so that may not equate to him being some over-the-top helpful piece. But what I will say is you love seeing people work on themselves in the offseason coming back from injury like he did. He looked great in the offseason. He put on some muscle, and I think he's going to be incumbent upon him to keep that conditioning very, very elite, because there may be opportunities for him to play the center position due to our circumstances. We do have guys like Christian Coloco on a 2-way deal. I did like what I saw from him here and there. I don't think his ceiling's very high, but I think he could help us with rim protection and stuff like that. Jackson Hayes is a guy we're bringing back. We saw some good things from Jackson Hayes. Ultimately, we did bench him in the playoffs, and I think that some of the luster from his high play midway through the season after the AD Luka trade kind of got lost in the fold. But he did some good things offensively, and he's still a high efficiency interior scorer. He can really score the ball at a high clip if you continue to feed him and spam him. He makes a hell of a lot of shots in the paint. So I haven't forgot about Jackson Hayes. He can get some steals here and there. I don't know where his thinking cap is a lot of times, but when he's right, he is a productive piece. And so hopefully with him slotted in as our backup center, we feel good about him. We will see. So this is just like basically what it is I see here. These are the players that you're seeing here. I don't know if the Lakers are going to make a trade before the season starts to move a guy like Dalton, to move a guy like Gabe, to move a guy like Jared or Rui. I do think there's a decent chance that you'll see a combination of those people move this season if the Lakers can find a deal that they like. And, I do think the Lakers would love to improve their center position. I think they would love to improve their point guard position, backup point guard position a little bit. Maybe get us a third string guy that we like or something like that behind Marcus Smart, so that we can have Austin play some two a little more reasonably if for some reason Luka needs to take a breather. That kind of thing. I think your roster could be a lot more smooth if you shave off the redundancy that you have with certain pieces and slip in more athleticism and more traditional center point guard type stuff on your roster, maybe some wings or something like that. I just think we could sharpen up a bit. We do have a lot of stuff we like, and maybe some of those young guys that we picked up can do that as well. We have some rookies that I think the Lakers are going to love. Some dudes that played in the summer league, some guys that didn't play in the summer league that we're excited about as well. And then I'll try to get their names as soon as this phone works with me. It's showing me everything but what I'm looking for here. It's showing me jerseys. I'm not looking for jerseys. I'm looking for summer league players, the roster. All right. But anyway, so this is really what it comes down to. I just think the Lakers have an intriguing crop of undrafted guys that we picked up. And we should be able to fill them in as well. And I don't know what the heck Google is doing, but it's not giving me what I'm looking for, and I'm very frustrated about that. So, yeah. As soon as I'm able to see who these young guys are, I can refresh all of our memory about them. And this is plenty of them, so give me a second and we will do that. But anyway, the point is, the Los Angeles Lakers have some young pieces that I think, if for some reason our older guys like Maxi Kleber and Vando, and some of these guys aren't able to produce, Gabe Vincent, if they're not able to really produce, I think you got a much better chance at finding some diamonds in the rough with the crop of guys that we have this season than maybe we felt in the past. I think that you do have some wing guys. You do have a point guard. You do have an athlete down there with your rookies. Most of the time, they're likely going to spend time in the in the G. But overall, you're gonna see them play for your team as well. And in the event that they do that, they project to fit well with what it is that ultimately we have, filling in the blanks and certain things that we could use some real help with. So that's really what it is. A guy like Eric Dixon, I don't know how he's doing with his recovery. He's somebody that didn't get a chance to play in the summer league, but we're extremely intrigued about his offensive game. R.J. Davis, I wasn't really a big fan of him, but he can play some point guard. So he did some good things in North Carolina. Augustus Marciulionis is a pure point guard. His dad played in this league. I watched a lot of highlights on him in the offseason. I'm super intrigued about what he can do. Looking forward to him in the preseason, getting some minutes. Arthur Kaluma has a body for what it is that we need. Small forward, lengthy dude. Definitely excited about Arthur Kaluma. You know what I mean? So like, we got some young players, man. We got some young guys that I really like. Our draft pick, one of my very favorite players in all of the draft. I haven't looked at the Laker roster in a long time. I've forgotten everybody's name and everything, man. But we did some good things. Abdou Thiero. This dude is going to be a monster. Already our most athletic player by far, him and LeBron, of course. But you're going to see Abdou Thiero has fantastic hands. Just a monster of an athlete. I don't know that he's quite developed to be who it is that we ultimately want him to be someday. But even out the gate, he's going to explode and show Laker fans that we have a prospect that we should be extremely excited about. Hopefully JJ's willing to play the kid here and there. I have my doubts about what type of minutes he'll get, but Abdou Thiero is a part of our future, and we do need to develop him. We definitely need to develop him and take our time doing so. That was my vision for him before we even drafted him. I made a video on that kid telling you guys that I think he could be a star, but he's going to have to take some time to develop, and people are going to have to be very patient with him. But if they take their time with him, he's going to be a monster. So I think he could potentially be one of our most important future guys next to Luka Doncic in the long run. I think Abdou Thiero could potentially be one of our key guys. So, yeah, keep an eye on him. And then Chris Mannion, I don't think I'm saying his name right. Chris Mannion, I forgot how he pronounces it, but this is a guy I like a lot. They picked up on a two-way contract. Very, very good guy out of Vanderbilt. I made a video of him in the summertime as well. Look out for Chris Mannion or Manon. I'm not sure how to say it, but that is a hell of a piece. He can really, really help our team. I already see that just in the highlights that I saw from him. So the Lakers, like I said, they picked up some pieces, man. Dixon, Kaluma, Thiero, Mannion, Marciulionis. These guys are all more than capable of finding a way in this NBA. And if we can get them all on the same page, they're going to fill in really nicely on the nights where we load manage with our old guys, on nights where maybe we're dealing with injuries at the same time. We're going to have an exciting group of young players to watch in garbage time this season. And if any of them pop, I think they can make the roster for what our needs are, especially if some of our guys underachieve, which they may. So that's what I will say. I think there's a chance maybe one or two of those guys might actually be on the team by the end of the season, getting regular minutes. I really do think that. They got some very good scouts here in Los Angeles with these Lakers, and I think they did another fantastic job bringing in undrafted guys. So that's what I want to say, man. It took a little while, but we got some good guys on the very back of our bench. So if for some reason it doesn't work out with some of our guys, you can feel confident about the prospects. Or if for some reason we have a hell season with injuries, you feel great about the crop of guys you can develop. They're going to be fun to watch. So that's really what it is for me, man. JJ Redick coming back in year 2, he had a good regular season, terrible playoffs. It's going to be intriguing to see what happens there. I think he's had a abnormally quiet offseason, which makes me think he's somewhere rubbing his hands together, trying to, just be maniacal and scientific about how to approach this upcoming season. I know how obsessive he is, and I think he knows how disappointed we were in what we saw from him in the playoffs. So if I know of JJ's character, he's somewhere sitting in a dungeon in the dark somewhere, meditating on how best to to catch everybody off guard with this roster. I have no doubt that he's obsessing over this roster right now. You ain't heard nothing from him. He's somewhere scheming, guaranteed. So I'm excited about that. I think him bumping his head in the playoffs made it even better because you know he's going to want to do better. You know he's taking this seriously. You know how obsessive he is. And so I think he's somewhere figuring it out. And I look forward to seeing what he's going to do this season.